Yo, what up, y'all? Malcolm, Game 7 CEO, and you're here for another team meeting. So we're approaching April, and around this time every year, the NFL has their drafts. And years ago, probably about 2 decades ago, there was a player out of the University of Georgia who was drafted in the later rounds, in the 6 rounds. And this player got on the team and went to preseason. And he was playing, but he was getting a lot of practice time, but no real scrimmage reps, which are the money reps, and he wasn't getting any reps in the game. So he continued to practice, and then they had a game in Japan. And when he got to Japan, the week leading up to the Japan game was horrible. Dropping passes, fumbling, missing assignments, just not playing good at all. And it was really, really, really discouraging for this player. So this player said, all right, I'm going to go out to practice today. If I don't have a good practice, I'm done. So he went out to practice. And of course, because he believed that he was already in his head, practice was horrible. So after practice, he said, all right, I'm going to go back to my room. I'm packing up all my stuff. And there was no iPhones. There were computers, but the internet was nowhere near as powerful as it was today. So when he packed up his stuff, he had to call the front desk to get them to book his flight home for him. So when he called down to the desk, the person picked up and they were speaking in Japanese. This player had no idea what the person was saying in Japanese. And the Japanese concierge had no idea what the player was saying. So they went back and forth for a while with no progress. So the player was like, all right, thank you for your time, hung up. He was like, all right, man, I'm going to just play this one last game. And when I go back home, then I'm going to quit. I won't have to call for the flight. I'll just pack my stuff up, tell the coaches and the staff I'm going, and I'll be gone. So they get to the game in Japan, and before the game, he's already checked out. He's just eating hot dogs, not expecting to play. So going through the game, he gets no snap on offense, no snaps on defense. But then, out of the blue, coach tells him that he's in on kickoff. And this is an offensive player. Offensive players, more or less, they score. They get the ball or they block for the people with the ball and they go score. Very, very, very rarely do they tackle. Only when there's a turnover or a fumble and the other team gets it, does the offensive player become a tackler. So he was on kickoff where he needs to go down and tackle the opponent with the ball. So kickoff, he's running down. The offensive person catches the ball. Boom! Knocked this dude out. Knocked him smooth out. So that caught the coach's attention. Who's that? Number 30? Then he went out there, he had the juice. So they gave him the ball a couple times that game. And he played really, really, really good. And after that, the rest was history. And this player is Terrell Davis, who's a Hall of Famer, a 2-time Super Bowl champ, one of the few 2,000-yard rushers that the NFL has ever seen. He's been an All-Pro. He's led the league in rushing, and he's had all of these kind of accolades. He was even the engine behind the 2 Super Bowl winning teams and played alongside John Elway, one of the top 5 quarterbacks in history. But just imagine, what if the Japanese concierge that picked up the phone could speak English well and was able to help Terrell Davis get his flight home and he would have quit? There would have never been no Terrell Davis. He wouldn't have got those 2 Super Bowls. He wouldn't have got the 2,000-yard season. He wouldn't be a Hall of Famer. He would have been a quitter. But luckily, due to circumstances, life did not allow him to quit. But most times, life is not going to be like that. If you quit, life is just going to let you quit. So the lesson here is the only difference between a start and a finish is how you handle the breaking point. The only difference between a start and a finish is how you handle the breaking point. So the breaking point for Terrell Davis was when he originally set in his mind to quit. But fortunately enough for him, the Broncos, and all of the NFL fanatics, the breaking point, life did not allow that point to break for him. He did not get that flight. So he ended up being presented with another opportunity that he took advantage of. And he got lucky for that too, because he said right after the game, he threw up all of the hot dogs that he ate. So the only difference between a start and a finish is how you handle the breaking point. Learn from Terrell Davis. If he would have quit, no championships, no record, no Hall of Fame. But that breaking point was the start of his Hall of Fame career, as opposed to being the end of his no Hall of Fame career. So when it gets to that point of the break, just remember that that's the point. That's where the growth is. When you don't feel no pain, you don't feel no kind of stress and everything, you're not really learning, you're not really growing. You're doing that easy. Learning is only done at the edges. So if you're capable of 100, you're only going to really learn once you get to 99, 98. 97 and under, that's easy. You already got those habits down. So never, ever, ever quit, because it could be a Hall of Fame career on the other side of your breaking point. Easy work.